Let's take you live across to Gujarat, where the Congress manifesto ahead of the assembly elections is being released. Well, the state Congress chief is also present, Arjun Modwadia. He's got Delhi Chief Minister Sheila Dikshit also present. It seems you can see the hustle and bustle, the activity happening around this release there. Now remember, this comes a day after Gujarat Chief Minister Narendra Modi released the BJP's manifesto yesterday. A whole slew of promises being made by the Gujarat Chief Minister as well. The Congress also readying its own strategy, trying to counter and make a big impact in the state. There have been various issues which they've also raised in the manifesto. Housing for poor have been one of the prominent ones. Remember, this is as a counter to Narendra Modi's urban housing scheme also, which he's promised 50 lakh homes, he said, will be constructed over the period of the next 5 years. A whole slew again of promises being made by Narendra Modi. The Congress certainly have their task cut out. Narendra Modi's pitch has been that of development. He's played on the plank of development. The Congress, at this stage at least, seems to be playing catch-up, trying to make it stand clear. There's been a heavy advertising campaign as well, trying to deride Narendra Modi and his government's achievements in the state. On many occasions, it has backfired as well, given the kind of goof-ups one has seen with those advertorials. Now, there has been a lot of dissent and dissidence within the state Congress unit in the state of Gujarat, with Narhari Amin, other councillors also defecting and threatening to quit over the allocation of tickets. So at this stage, there's a lot to sort out for the Congress party in the state of Gujarat. They are trying to play catch-up. Arjun Modwadia has been quite aggressive in his commentary against Narendra Modi, saying the state people of Gujarat will show Narendra Modi just what changes, reacting also to the issue of the visa, which is being opposed in the United States by US lawmakers. Arjun Modwadia saying, forget the US, it is the people of Gujarat who will show Narendra Modi what change is all about. Live pictures, they're coming to you from that media address, that press conference where the Congress manifesto is being released ahead of the assembly elections. Devankur Vadhavan has been tracking developments. He now joins us. Dev, a day after the BJP manifesto was released, just take us through the salient features of the Congress manifesto now being released today. Pictures of it coming live. Dev, if you can hear me, just take us through the details of the Congress manifesto, the announcement being made today.
Well, Aditya, there are a few of measures that are on the anvil during the Congress manifesto release, which will simultaneously be happening at 4 places, including Surat, Ahmedabad and Vadodara in Gujarat. Several of the Congress stalwarts, including Sheila Dikshit, Shankar Singh Wadhela, Mukul Vasnik, Sanjay Bapna, and several other leaders like Shrikant Jana will be there simultaneously at these places to release the manifesto. What is likely to be on the anvil is a few of measures to show subsidies that will be offered to farmers. What is also likely is interest subsidies to the farmers, and apart from that, affordable housing can also be offered if the Congress is brought to power in Gujarat. So all of that is on the anvil, but it is yet to be seen as to whether it's more of a populist manifesto or whether it's a realistic manifesto that the Congress will be releasing today.
When you look at this, the manifesto that BJP leader, and the Gujarat Chief Minister Narendra Modi also released yesterday, a whole slew of promises there, was very aggressive in his campaigning. But the change here for the BJP has been, Dev, the fact that there have been such senior leaders from the BJP who were present in the state of Gujarat campaigning for him, trying to put forth their weight behind him as well as the next candidate to be, re-elected in the state of Gujarat. They're saying, he's the man to go for. That's something which has been missing from the Congress fold. I mean, yes, you talk about some senior leaders being present, but the national push, as it were, from the Congress hasn't gone behind the Congress in the state.
But Aditya, the irony is that even in the release of the manifesto, the BJP has stolen a march over the Congress. It has released its manifesto a day before the Congress is planning to do so. And this has been apparent time and again in Gujarat. whether it be the ticket distribution behind, after which there was a lot of dissidents, leaders like Narari Amin coming out and speaking against the Congress High Command, mentioning that the Congress leaders will themselves campaign in favor of Modi and entire Congress. So these kind of measures time and again have put the Congress in an extremely bad light, and that is what has been seen time and over again. Whether it was the ad blooper that was there, whether it was the release of the manifesto, or whether it was the ticket distribution. So the Congress is a divided house. It has come out extremely badly in the entire manner, and even as far as the poll promises that were made by Modi, there was a kind of realistic approach that was adopted by Modi by offering houses to people, by offering subsidies to the farmers, by offering jobs to the youth, and by offering higher education at a subsidized rate to both the students and the women of Gujarat. He tried reaching out to a section which was hitherto untouched, and also where his support base was lagging behind. Now, another irony that I was able to make out during the entire release of the manifesto was that as far as the Congress is concerned, there is no leader who can be termed as a national leader or who has a pan-Gujarat approach. If you look at the posters that are there, they are of Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Vallabhbhai Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru, all people who do not have any kind of realistic connection with Gujarat. Whereas if you were to look yesterday, the biggest posters were there of Narendra Modi himself, and even the posters of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, L.K. Advani, and other leaders of BJP were not as huge as Modi's posters were. So that is a prominent irony that one can make out, which is very prevalent across Gujarat.
And the other factor here, one of the major factors as well, they have to be considered, is the fact that, there is no real leader, no opposition that has been put forth in terms of leadership against Narendra Modi as well. The man who's been in charge of the state for the last 10 years, who's projected himself, as the man who's brought Gujarat to a position where it is reckoned to be one of the most developed, one of the most progressive states in the country. Where is the leader who can be put forth against him? That has been the other undoing for the Congress.
Well, I would say realistically speaking, as far as the political pundits are concerned, what they have been mentioning is that the real challenge for Narendra Damodar Modi will be whether he will be able to increase the margin of his vote share, whether he will be able to increase the number of seats that he won in the last election. Gujarat will be going to poll come 13th of December. The first phase will be there. The second phase is scheduled for 17th of December. There are 182 seats that will be on the anvil for which the contest will be there. And some people have predicted that BJP might just win as many as 150 seats out of those 182 seats. So clearly, Modi will be fighting to improve his margin or to improve the number of seats rather than defeating the opposition, of which is completely non-existent in Gujarat.
And then you get a sense that the Congress, in the Gujarat at least, to a large extent has been playing catch-up with Narendra Modi. I mean, you look at his campaigning style as well, be it those aggressive speeches, be it his, omnipresence everywhere, using 3D technology for campaigning. The fact is that he's been on top of his game as far as projecting himself as the next chief minister of the state is concerned. This is, like you mentioned, been a situation where the Congress was always, starting on the back foot. Narendra Modi has always, played upon the development plank on various other issues, projected himself to be the only solution for Gujarat to go ahead with. And despite that, he hasn't eased the foot off the gas, as it were, and he's ensured that he is still very much, sort of present in public consciousness during this election time.
Well, Aditya, Narendra Modi is a master of propaganda. He knows how to showcase whatever development, the kind of growth rate. He has time and again mentioned that Gujarat has been progressing at a growth rate of 10% as compared to the national growth rate of just 4%. So time and again he has come out with statistics, with data, how in milk production, how milk of Gujarat goes across to Mumbai, to far off places, and how progress under Narendra Modi since 2002 till 2012 for 10 years has been remarkable, unachievable by any other party, and hitherto unheard of. So he knows how to put forth to people, how to convey to people what kind of progress Gujarat has seen. Also, there is another factor that goes in his favor. He knows how to project himself. Whether it was the comment regarding Maut Ka Saudagar, or whether there was the comment of 50 crore girlfriend that he made against Sunanda Pushkar. He knows how to capture the mood of the audience. Thereafter, he kept silence. After making that remark, he did not come up with another remark for some time. So he knows when to stay silent, when to come up with another remark, when to take a jibe at the Sonia Gandhi or the Congress party. He has been speaking in his speeches. I've been listening to him. He has spoken about Dr. Manmohan Singh, how the approach of the Prime Minister and the central government has not been up to the mark as far as Gujarat has been concerned. So he has played on the sentiments of the Gujaratis just by mentioning 6 crore Gujaratis time and again, by talking about things that really concern the people of Gujarat. He has touched where it matters as far as people of Gujarat are concerned.
Well, they've just stayed on with us. Mausiki Acharya has also been covering, all the details that run up to these assembly elections. She now joins us for a perspective. Mausiki, the Congress has tried its best. It's, put its weight behind, the campaigns. You see advertising campaigns. You see, the aggressive speeches, the constant, exchange of barbs from Arjun Modwadia as well. Even using today's issue of the visa, being used against Narendra Modi. The fact of the matter is, they've always been playing catch up to Narendra Modi. He's always been one step ahead. And for him, this is only now becoming a stepping stone to launch himself on the national stage. This is, being assumed by political watchers as a given that Gujarat belongs to him.
Well, absolutely. And that has generally been the kind of reaction even from the political analysts here who have observed the BJP versus the Congress fight in last 10 years, especially since Narendra Modi took over. However, keeping in mind that Congress is also going to come out with their manifesto this noon, it will not be very far from what BJP has come out. Their focus will be on farmers, students, especially employable youth, and also the urban middle class. And one of the biggest would be the urban housing development scheme, as well as providing small plots of approximately 100 square yards to the rural women in Gujarat here. It is not going to be very, very different from what BJP has come forward with. We see that Sheila Dikshit, the Delhi Chief Minister, has come to Ahmedabad to release the Congress manifesto and this clearly shows that how Gujarat Congress lacks a face, one which should stand up against Narendra Modi. We saw how Narendra Modi launched BJP's manifesto on Monday. Arun Jaitley was there, RC Paldi, the BJP president, was there, but it was essentially Narendra Modi which gave out all the details of the manifesto. However, when Congress is giving out their manifesto today, they will have to rely on Sheila Dikshit as the face. So it's very clear here.
But you think that is the problem, Mausiki, that there is no alternative, there's no real challenger for that post, which is why Narendra Modi almost arrogantly, has also made this quite clear that, if not me, who? He's done, you're also mentioning that the manifesto that the Congress is set to release as well, talks about a new middle class. Narendra Modi's already done that, speaking about a neo middle class that he's talking about, the urban housing plans that he's put in place, something which you said will be one of the major clinchers for Narendra Modi this time around. That's already been spoken about. So Congress has been playing catch up for the longest time.
Absolutely, and it has been accepted by almost all the politicians in the Congress fold here, especially when it is considered that Arjun Modwadia himself is the state president. He himself is not sufficient to release the manifesto if they have to invite Sheila Dikshit. It clearly indicates that how they are looking for a face to establish this manifesto. As we see in the visuals here, Arjun Modwadia is flanked by Sheila Dikshit. There are other several national leaders who are in Rajkot, Vadodara and Surat who will be simultaneously releasing the Congress manifesto here. Shows that how the leadership in the state is lacking totally. It would have been enough for the Congress to just have faces like Arjun Modwadia, Satyajit Govind, Shankar T. Waghela to have released the manifesto. However, that has not happened. We are seeing how Sheila Dikshit is being propped up by the Congress here to release the manifesto. Also, right after the cash transfer scheme was announced, Sonia Gandhi's plan has now been made public that she will be visiting Gujarat on the 7th of December. Prime Minister Manmohan Singh too is slated to visit Gujarat on 9th of December. So now Congress is building its campaign for the upcoming elections, whereas Narendra Modi has always hit out at the For him, the Gujarat Congress leaders just do not exist. For him, they are just no competition here. And he has always maintained that. Every time in his speech, he has always hit out at central leaders, and especially Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. It will now be very interesting to see how similar are the manifestos of Congress and BJP, and what sort of reaction it gets from the BJP now. Will they be termed as copycat? Like, for example, urban housing will be featured like at the topmost of the manifesto in the Congress as well, and Narendra Modi too has made public that they will be spending a significant amount of effort, energy and finance for providing houses in the urban area. It's only a matter of minutes before Congress releases its manifesto, and it will be interesting to see what sort of promises they make. Like, they have come up with a promise for students, all the students to give clear that 12th standard exams will be given laptops here. It's a very populist measure here, especially after cash for transfer schemes for the poor people here. Also, giving a 100 square yard plot free of cost to women in the rural areas is a huge populist whole promise which will be coming from the Congress here. So it will be interesting to see what sort of promises they are making in their manifesto here. As Modi said that it was not a manifesto for him, but it's a commitment letter. That's what he has done so far. He will continue to do, and this is his commitment for the coming 5 years. It will be interesting to see what the Congress has to provide to the voters. What are they promising the voters here? Water, irrigation, employment for the youth, agriculture sector, especially what will be the jobs for the farmers, women employment, as well as housing for the urban poor as well as the middle class people. Narendra Modi coined this term the neo-middle class. We'll have to see how Congress counters that.
No, and the other factor to be considered, Mosiki, is the advantage which Narendra Modi has of hindsight. I mean, you've seen him deliver on many of the promises that he made the last time around as well. The counter to, you know, how many houses will you be able to build? He said, I promised 20 lakh, I made 22 lakh in the last 5 years. I'm promising 50 now, and I'm going to make more. And this is something which the Congress has not been able to find the right counter for. I mean, you talk about, you know, in terms of promises being made by the Congress, but they certainly haven't had the opportunity to go ahead and prove themselves. They certainly have appeared to be, you know, running short of ideas, at least at the state level here, because like you mentioned, despite, you know, having the kind of clout that he now enjoys, the kind of support he enjoys in Gujarat, he's had the backing of the senior leadership. We've had L.K. Advani come and sort of put his weight behind him. You've had Arun Jaitley, like you mentioned, Sushma Swaraj giving their vote for him. But what is it that the Congress hasn't been able to gauge so far? I mean, all you hear about the Congress so far is dissidents within the party. You talk about Narhari Amin, other leaders going on saying that we may well be defecting to the BJP. What have they not been able to get together?
Well, the way Narendra Modi has trumped Congress in Gujarat is only through raising the issue of development. He has very successfully propagated that he has developed Gujarat. Though Congress claims that most of the schemes that have been floated or have been made successful by Narendra Modi were present in the Congress regime, and most of them are central government schemes here, it is very, very clear that Narendra Modi has succeeded in advertising himself as the man of development in Gujarat. Let's not forget that a few months ago, Congress announced that they will come out with Ghar Nu Ghar scheme. What it essentially means is they will be giving out urban women living in the urban areas flat housing accommodation at extremely subsidized rates. That was the scheme which was floated by Congress almost 2 months ago. It saw an overwhelming response by the women in the urban areas. There were thousands and thousands of women who turned up to register themselves to fill up those forms for that subsidized scheme. The BJP was perturbed after that event. When they saw that such huge numbers were turning up to register themselves for the housing scheme, BJP was forced, the Gujarat government was forced to revise the Gujarat Urban Housing Development Department, which was lying defunct for the last 11 years under Modi's regime. So yes, urban housing has found a very prominent has found a very prominent place in the manifesto.
Alright, Mosiki, let me interrupt you here. Let's actually cut across and listen to Arjun Modhwadia as this release for the manifesto goes on.
सारे स्टडी ग्रुप बनवाए गए और ये स्टडी ग्रुप के रिकमेंडेशन के बाद हमने 2 दस्तावेज तैयार किए। उसमें से एक दस्तावेज था गुजरात प्रजा विकास दर्शन 2012 के 12 मुद्दे और दूसरा आज हम कांग्रेस का जो चुनावी मैनिफेस्टो है वो आज डिक्लेयर कर रहे हैं। 12 मुद्दों के बारे में हमने बार-बार अलग-अलग दिन हर मुद्दे पर चर्चा की, उसका कंपाइलेशन किया गया है और अगले 2-3 दिन में एक कंपाइलेशन करके हमने गुजरात प्रजा विकास दर्शन 2012 का 12 मुद्दा आपको देंगे। लेकिन आज हम जनरल मैनिफेस्टो आपके सामने रख रहे हैं। ये जनरल मैनिफेस्टो आज हमने जो कांग्रेस की सरकारों ने शासन किया, उसके बाद 17 साल का भारतीय जनता पार्टी का शासन आया और उनमें जो हमारा हक, जनता का हक जो छीना गया, वो हक हम पुनर्स्थापित करने के लिए ये हमारा जो आज का दस्तावेज है उनमें हमने निर्धार किया और कई नई बातों इसमें हमने लाई है। कल ही भारतीय जनता पार्टी का मैनिफेस्टो जनता के सामने रखा और ऐसे वादे किए जो वादे उन्होंने 17 साल में पूरा नहीं किए, और कुछ वादे तो ऐसे थे कि जो बार बार उनके वादे रहे। उसमें जो अहम मुद्दा था ब्रोकन प्रोमिसेस, उसके जो अहम है, उसमें सरकारी कर्मचारियों को हम पूरा पगार देंगे। आज भी फिक्स पगार और 6 पे कमीशन की यहाँ इंप्लीमेंटेशन नहीं हो रही। सरकारी कर्मचारियों की जगह भरी नहीं जा रही। किसानों को 14 कलाक बिजली देने का वादा किया था, आज 8 घंटे की बिजली नहीं मिल रही। एफोर्डेबल हाउसेस देने की वादा किया था, लेकिन 10 साल में उन्होंने एक भी हाउस नहीं बनाया। 40 लाख लोगों का रोजगार देने का वादा किया था, लेकिन आज 10 लाख युवा बेकार हैं। टाटा को नैनो कार बनाने के लिए 33,000 करोड़ दिया जा रहा है, लेकिन हमारे जो नागरिक बीमार होते हैं तो उसको सरकारी अस्पताल में जाते हैं तो केस निकालने का भी पैसा देना पड़ता है, और आगे जाकर अगर उसको कोई गंभीर प्रकार की बीमारी है तो लाख रुपया 2 लाख रुपया उससे लिया जा रहा है। तो ये एक झूठ का दस्तावेज था। जो आभासी प्रॉमिसेस उन्होंने किया है वो है, जबकि हमारा जो दस्तावेज आज का है वो 17 साल पहले हम इसी नीति पे चलते थे और फिर से वादा करते हैं कि हमारा शासन आएगा और सही मायने में हम जो लोगों का अधिकार 17 साल पहले था वो रिस्टोर करेंगे, और जो शासन हम चलाएंगे वो शासन में हमारे केंद्र में आम आदमी रहेगा। हमारे यहाँ केंद्र में न टाटा रहेंगे, न टाटा की नैनो रहेगी, न अदानी रहेंगे, न एसआर रहेंगे, न रहेजा बिल्डर्स रहेंगे, न डीएलएफ रहेंगे, न सत्यम कंप्यूटर रहेंगे। यहां जो रहेंगे हमारे फोकस में, और हमारा जितनी भी संपदा है, हमारा जितना भी रिसोर्सेस है, वो रिसोर्सेस हम सब आम जनता के लिए उपयोग करेंगे। ये वादा हमने रखा है। जो सैलिएंट फीचर है ज्यादातर आपको बुकलेट में दिया गया है, लेकिन मैं आपको थोड़ी रूपरेखा बताऊंगा। जो जनरल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन है वो पूरा एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की है। उसमें 6 पे कमीशन का इंप्लीमेंटेशन आज गुजरात में नहीं हो रहा। सरकार ने वादा किया था कि हम इसको इंप्लीमेंट करेंगे, लेकिन आज तक इंप्लीमेंट नहीं किया है। कई कमियां रह गई हैं, हम उसको दुरुस्त करेंगे और इन टोटालिटी सिर्फ पे कमीशन लागू करेंगे। हमारे जब युवाओं को नौकरी सरकारी मिलती है तो पूरा परिवार खुश होता है कि अब माँ बाप भाई बहने उसके प्रति जिसको नौकरी मिली है वो फर्ज अदा करेंगे। शिला जी को तो बहुत बड़ा आश्चर्य होगा क्योंकि वहां ऐसा नहीं है, लेकिन यहां जब किसी को क्लास 1 की नौकरी मिलती है तो उसको 8,000 रुपये का फिक्स पे दिया जाता है। क्लास 2 में 5500 रुपये दिया जाता है और क्लास 3 को 4,500 रुपीज दिया जाता है। जो युवा है फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाता है कि वो परिवार के प्रति उसकी जिम्मेदारी हो, जिम्मेदारी नहीं निभा पाता, माँ बाप की अपेक्षा पूरा नहीं कर रहा है। हम वादा करते हैं कि हम शोषण मुक्त समाज बनाएंगे और उसमें सरकार से शुरुआत करेंगे और सबको पूरा पे मिले उसके लिए प्रावधान रखेंगे। आज सचिवालय का दरवाजा दलालों और उद्योगपतियों के लिए खुला है और सबके लिए बंद कर दिया। हम ये दरवाजा सबके लिए खोलेंगे। सरकारी कर्मचारी, सरकारी अफसर जो नागरिक सेवाएं हैं वो उपलब्ध नहीं करा रहे हैं, उसके लिए कई सरकारों ने पब्लिक अकाउंटेबिलिटी एक्ट बनाया है। उसमें ये सेवाएं कितनी टाइम में 30 डेज में या 15 डेज में उपलब्ध कराया जाए उसका प्रावधान किया है। एक कास्ट का सर्टिफिकेट या हमारे जो जमीन के जो रिकॉर्ड्स निकालना है उसमें कई दिनों लग जाते हैं, लेकिन हम एक्ट लाएंगे और इसी एक्ट के तहत सर्टेन डेज में उसको ये सेवाएं उपलब्ध कराने के लिए अकाउंटेबिलिटी जो अफसर है उसके ऊपर डालेंगे। राइट टू एजुकेशन है उसका इंप्लीमेंट हम करेंगे। आरटीआई, राइट टू इंफॉर्मेशन एक्ट जो यूपीए सरकार की सोनिया गांधी की देन है और पूरी ट्रांसपेरेंसी में भ्रष्टाचार रोकने में सबसे बड़ा हथियार नागरिकों के हाथ में है। लेकिन ये एक्ट को आज पैरालाइज कर दिया गया है। 10 कमिश्नर की जगह आज 2 कमिश्नर काम कर रहे हैं। 14,000 एप्लीकेशन पेंडिंग है। हम जो कमिश्नरेट है उसमें जितनी जरूरत होगी उतना कमिश्नर अपॉइंट करेंगे और 0 एप्लीकेशन पेंडिंग रखेंगे। 10 लाख किसानों को आज बिजली नहीं मिल रही क्योंकि उसको कनेक्शन नहीं दिया जा रहा। गुजरात सरकार दावा करती है कि हम दूसरे राज्यों को बिजली बेचते हैं, लेकिन हमारे किसानों को क्यों नहीं देते? हमने वादा किया है कि 10 लाख जो किसान बिजली का कनेक्शन मांग रहे हैं उनको हम बिजली का कनेक्शन टाइम बाउंड मिले, इसलिए हम कानून लाएंगे और 6 महीने में उसको बिजली का कनेक्शन दिया जाए। ऐसा अकाउंटेबिलिटी बीज कंपनी पर डालेंगे। जो 8 घंटे बिजली मिलते हैं उसमें हम 16 घंटे बिजली देंगे। जो किसानों के रेवेन्यू रिकॉर्ड्स के जो अलग अलग फॉर्म है 7, 12, 8 का, वो आज ब्लॉक लेवल पे उसको जाना पड़ता है। हम ये पंचायत लेवल पर उसके घर पर ही मुहैया करवाएंगे। और बिजली मीटर तो सही, लेकिन हॉर्स पावर दीठ उसको बिजली का दाम हम लगाएंगे, उसका रेट लगाएंगे। जो दरिया किनारा है हमारा, सारे देश में सबसे लंबा सी कोस्ट है हमारे पास। वहां फिशरमैन रहते हैं, लेकिन उसका राइट अभी रहने नहीं दिया। पूरा कोस्टल बेल्ट उन्होंने बड़े उद्योगपतियों को बेच दिया है। एक भी 10 साल में उन्होंने एक भी फिशिंग हार्बर नहीं बनाया। हम वादा करते हैं कि 17 साल पहले कांग्रेस ने फिशिंग हार्बर बनाए थे, अब हम नया भी बनाएंगे। और जो फिशरमैन है हमारे, उनके लिए हाउसिंग की योजना लाएंगे, उसको बीमा सुरक्षा का कवच देंगे। डीजल पर सब्सिडी जो आज बंद कर रखा है, वो फिर से सेल टैक्स में सब्सिडी उसको देंगे। आज इंडस्ट्री में 10 से 15 ऐसे इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट हैं जो मोदी जी की एक चेयर गर्ल्स की तरफ तारीफ करते रहते हैं। सभी रिसोर्सेस उनकी ओर डाइवर्ट कर दिया, और जो छोटे और मझोले जो इंडस्ट्री है वो आज बंद जैसी हालत में है। कांग्रेस के शासन में 180 जीआईडीसी बनी थी, इंडस्ट्रियल एस्टेट बनी थी। 17 साल के शासन में ये सरकार ने 2 भी नहीं बनाए। हम ये नीति बदलेंगे। 60,000 से करीब छोटी इंडस्ट्री आज बंद पड़ी हुई है, उसको रिवाइव करेंगे। एग्जिस्टिंग इंडस्ट्री है अभी छोटी, उसको मदद करेंगे। और नई जीआईडीसी जो एक बैकवर्ड एरिया है, बैकवर्ड एरिया में हम नया उद्योग लगाएंगे। और जो भी नई इंडस्ट्री लगेगी उसमें हम 80% का जो आज कानून है स्थानिक रोजगारी देने का, ये सरकार ने आज रिलैक्स कर दिया है। तो हम 85% रोजगारी लोकल हो, उसको हम देंगे। गुजरात का सबसे लंबा सी कोस्ट है, उसको प्रवासन के उद्योग में उसका उपयोग, प्रवासन उद्योग डेवलपमेंट करने के लिए हम ज्यादा इन्वेस्टमेंट लाएंगे, जिससे हमारे युवाओं को उसमें रोजगारी मिले। उसमें बहुत कम काम हुआ है, सिर्फ बड़े उद्योगों को उन्होंने जो सी कोस्ट बेचने का काम किया है हम बंद करेंगे, और ये सी कोस्ट का उपयोग हम उसमें करेंगे। शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में हम 5 किलोमीटर की रेडियस में माध्यमिक स्कूल शुरू करवाएंगे, ग्रांट इन एड। विद्या सहायक, शिक्षक सहायक, अध्यापक सहायक सभी पद नाबूद करके फुल पे पर हम टीचर्स की अपॉइंटमेंट करें। राइट टू एजुकेशन का इंप्लीमेंट करके जो प्राइवेट स्कूल है उसमें रिजर्वेशन गरीब बच्चों के लिए रखेंगे। और सबसे महत्वाकांक्षी जो कार्यक्रम दिया है हमने, 10th से 12th स्टैंडर्ड तक के बच्चों को टैबलेट पीसी देंगे, और कॉलेज में जाने वाले हमारे जो बच्चों हैं उनको हम लैपटॉप देंगे।